Hi there, welcome to the Healing Migraines Naturally podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Leslie Caesar, and I'm a licensed naturopathic doctor, former chronic migraine sufferer, and I help women all over the country rediscover a migraine-free life. So I wasn't planning on doing a podcast today, but something happened to me this weekend. It's personal, it's not very glamorous, but I think it's one of the best illustrations of the core framework that I come back to again and again on the podcast. So I'm jumping on today to share this with you. I really hope you get a kick out of this, what I went through yesterday. I hope you get a kick out of it. And then also I hope that it brings a deeper understanding as to the symptoms that your body is generating. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to set the scene here for you. So, again, yesterday was Mother's Day. So on Saturday, we actually went out to dinner with my in-laws. So not just my mother and father-in-law, but my sister-in-law, her husband, her two girls. They are very close in age to my daughter, so the three of them are really close. So, this wasn't just like a little, family dinner. This was the whole crew, okay? So it was so fun. It was so special. My daughter and then one of her cousins, they share the same birthday, 1 year apart, but same birthday, which just occurred. So it was like super fun. We went to a Hibachi grill. So if you've never been, hibachi is that style. It's like a Japanese steakhouse where the chef cooks right at your table. There's that big, like stainless steel, huge griddle, right, that you're sitting around. And, they light things on fire. They clank the knives and the spatulas and they sing and everything else, right? The chef flips the shrimp, the broccoli, into your mouth and so on. So, super fun. The kids were losing it. My sister-in-law is a real hoot. So I was sitting next to her. She had a great time. It was loud. It was fun. We were celebrating happy birthday, the whole bit. I wasn't thinking about my health at all. I want to be upfront about something, right? And you're probably already thinking this if you're a migraine sufferer. Hibachi is notorious in the migraine community, right? I mean, I know this. I've gotten migraines after eating this type of food before, right? So, but I went in, I was confident. I really didn't even think about it. When we were ordering, I didn't pull the server aside and, ask him what type of sauce do you use? Is there going to be MSG in this meal? Of course, there's going to be MSG in this meal. What kind of oil? What's in that golden butter? Or I hate to say golden butter. It's like orange butter, radioactive orange butter that you're going to drench everything in. I didn't ask any of those questions. I just ordered right off the menu. And I definitely don't regret it. It was a great time. We had a lot of fun. And then I woke up Sunday morning and I walked into the bathroom and I looked in the mirror. And, oh boy, so my eyes were absolutely watering. The bags under my eyes, literal dark circles under the eyes. And my nose was running continuously. I mean, like a faucet, all right? Just a complete watery, constant dripping nose, such that if I went to go do anything, unload the dishwasher in the morning, my nose is dripping. I had to hold a tissue under my nose. It was dripping so much. And to add the final insult, I literally had a little pimple on the side of my nose. Okay, so I want you to sit with this picture for a minute because I know what a lot of migraine sufferers would do in that moment. They'd reach for the antihistamine, right? The Benadryl, the Allegra. They think, I must be coming down with something, or, it is May, we're in the peak of allergy season, maybe the pollen count is really high, maybe the mold count is really high. Let me take something for this because I've got a whole Mother's Day plan now, right? That was with my in-laws the night before. I've got a whole lunch planned with my parents that we're going to be leaving for, right? So, but that's not what I thought. Oh yeah. These are toxicity symptoms, okay? And there's a really important distinction here that I want to draw. Hi there. I want to jump in real quick and tell you about my client, Beth. She was getting 15 to 20 migraines and headaches per month. And as you can imagine, this was impacting her work performance and her confidence. She also has 2 small children, and she was starting to feel like she was a horrible mom because she had nothing left for them at the end of the day. But she reached out and she booked a free consult call with me. And after I asked her about her migraines and her health history, I felt confident that I could help her. I help women uncover the root drivers of their migraines and follow a step-by-step plan to dramatically reduce the frequency by up to 90% without adding more medication or taking a bunch of supplements. So we built her personal migraine map, followed the plan, and now she will get 1 to 2 migraines per year, which she uses ibuprofen to treat if she needs to, versus up to 15 to 20 per month when we first started working together that weren't responding well to any medication. She just reached out to tell me that she got a promotion at work, she's on top of her career again, and has been able to come off all of her migraine medication. But most importantly, she's a confident mom again, and she's attending birthday parties at Jump Zone with her kids and saying yes instead of saying maybe later. I've worked with women like Beth from all over the United States who were told, this is the best we can do, but they were still willing to dig deeper. So if you're serious about changing your migraine story, go to drlesliecaesar.com/apply or tap the link in the show notes, and on our free consult, we'll map out why your migraines keep coming back and the first 3 steps you can take over the next 30 days. I do cap new client spots each month, so if the calendar is full, the doors are closed for now. But if you're done feeling helpless and ready to do the work to heal, pause this episode for 30 seconds and book that consult call now. An allergy implies that our immune system has somehow gotten confused, has gotten off track, and it's overreacting to something innocent like the pollen or the mold or the cat or whatever it is. But what I was looking at in the mirror had nothing to do with my immune system misfiring. My body was doing exactly what it is supposed to do. It was eliminating. Our body has multiple channels for getting rid of waste, okay? And our liver does the work of detoxification of waste material molecules or toxin molecules, but then we have to eliminate those molecules from the body. So the way that we eliminate them is through our skin, through a nasal discharge, by generating a watery eye discharge, right? We eliminate things in that way. So if the liver has more of an overload than it can handle, the elimination processes are really going to kick up. They're going to go into overdrive because it's like, okay, if the liver can't handle this, let's really try to flush as much out as we can to help out. It's basically recruiting the backup crew. All of those elimination channels, those were on full display in my face. Okay, those channels were running at full capacity. Let's go through what's actually in a typical hibachi grill meal, okay, because I know a lot of people would have no idea. I think perhaps those of us that are prone to migraines and concerned about migraines, we might be a little bit more dialed in, but just in case you're not aware of what's typical at a hibachi grill, okay? So first of all, let's talk about the stuff that looks like butter, okay? The chef came out, right? They wheel out like a cart with all of your ingredients and so on, and there was a tub, like a vat of this mound of this like radioactive orange stuff that is apparently butter mixed with seasonings and stuff like that. And the chef puts this on everything, right? This is the main sauce. So it's almost never real butter. This did occur to me when we were sitting there and I was thinking, oh, I wonder if that's actually butter. That's probably margarine. And I did look this up. It is typically margarine, or they might blend margarine with like, kind of cheap butter. So margarine, right, this is you could call it like a fake food, right? It's partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, and that process turns the liquid vegetable oil into a solid, like the texture of butter. And it's not good for you, okay? It's a type of fat that you really don't want to put into your body very frequently. If you do it occasionally, your body will work it out, but it's really something that you want to avoid. It's never anything that I would buy and use to cook with or have in our home. But if you go to a restaurant, you're likely to be exposed to partially hydrogenated oils. So then, they've got the salt in there, the garlic powder, soy sauce, definitely. I don't think it was that radioactive orange color on its own. That was probably a food dye that was in there. So we've got a lot of additives, a lot of, you could say, chemical toxins in the food. And like I say, they put this on everything. It's not like it's just a little touch. Everything that we ate was cooked and marinated and drenched. He kept taking his big spatula and dolloping this stuff onto the grill. So then there's the cooking oil itself. So, he had sort of like those squeeze bottles, right? And he's, squeezing the oil and so on. Again, this is not, extra virgin olive oil. This is probably a seed oil. Not the best oil. It's a highly refined oil that's going to have solvents in it and so on. So again, more toxins within the food that you're eating. Then we're cooking the food in really high temperatures, right? The grill is just steaming, right? Everything is sizzling. In fact, when he put the rice on the grill, it actually was like, popping, like it was popcorn, but it was rice. It was literally like jumping up off of the grill because it was so hot. So then you're charring and really burning the food. That generates sort of natural toxins that you're going to eat. Then we've got the other seasonings, the squeeze bottles of, I'm sure it had soy sauce in it, some sort of marinades, right? The whole bit, right? And this, whenever you say soy sauce to a chronic migraine sufferer, right? It's like, uh-oh, we're in trouble, right? So we had all of that. And then, when you go there, again, it's not a little tiny bit you're eating. It's a big meal. They're drenching everything in this stuff. So it really stacks up. So again, I'm not saying all of this because I am telling you to never go to a hibachi restaurant or that this is horrible and you should never eat this food. I would go again. If I went every week, I'd probably run into problems, more significant problems than what I experienced yesterday. But again, I would go back. Certainly, my in-laws loved it. We might be going back again for another special occasion. But what I want you to understand is that your body is actually processing all of these, if you want to call them, additional toxins in the food when you do go to the restaurant. And so here's what happened in my body. My liver has a threshold. I like to think of this as we sort of have this little trash can, this little toxin bucket, and we're continuously putting waste materials and environmental toxins into the bucket. And our liver is sort of like a drain at the bottom of the bucket. So as we're putting stuff in, which is continuous, you make waste material. So even if you try to live in some sort of pristine environment, you are making waste materials all the time. And then also, yes, there are definitely man-made toxins in the environment, in the food supply, the water supply, the air supply. But we have never lived in a toxin-free environment. There are naturally occurring toxins in our environment. So we're designed to be able to drain that bucket. As things are getting added to the bucket, our liver is sort of like the drain at the bottom of the bucket. So if we can drain the bucket as we're adding to the bucket, we're not going to have any problems. You're not going to really feel anything. You're not going to have toxicity symptoms. You're just going to live your life and feel good. But when that incoming load is more than the liver can handle, when you're adding more than what the drain can accommodate, then your body says, uh-oh, we've got an overload. How can we help out, right? Because our body wants to get these molecules out of our bloodstream. They're toxic. How can I help my liver get them out? Well, I can recruit additional elimination channels that I mentioned. And when all those channels are running at once, the runny nose, the watery eyes, the the bags and the dark circles under your eyes, the pimple, it's not a mystery, okay? It's a coordinated response. Each one of these symptoms is telling you something very specific. Now, here's why this matters so much for anyone who's living with migraines. A migraine is also a toxicity symptom. And this is a statement that deserves its own episode, and we've talked about this before. We will link to the major episode that I talk about this phenomenon in the description, but the short version is this. When your toxin load exceeds your body's ability to clear it, when the bucket overflows, when you can't drain the bucket as fast as you're adding to it, your body is going to generate toxicity symptoms. Those include migraines, and they include things like runny eyes and a dripping nose and even that little pimple on the skin. The runny nose and the migraines are not different problems. They are different expressions of the same problem. Your body is overloaded and it's trying to tell you. But here's what makes this story more than just a story about a restaurant. A year ago, I probably could have gone to that same dinner, eat the exact same food, and wake up just fine. Or at least not like that. Okay, so what changed? Last July, I was bitten by a tick, and I have a tick-borne bacterial infection. This is the first time I've shared this publicly, and I'm sharing it now because it's directly relevant to what happened on Sunday morning. And I think it illustrates something that is true for a lot of people who are dealing with chronic migraines and can't figure out why their body is so reactive. For the past 9 months, my immune system has been working to eradicate this bacteria. And that work, that constant immune activity, generates metabolic waste, byproducts. So my body is processing not just my normal daily load, but the ongoing output of an immune system that has been fighting this bacterial infection since last summer. Okay? So think about the bucket again. My bucket has been filling up steadily for 9 months. And I knew that. I knew that that was happening. I had to assume that that was happening. And I can feel sort of that ebb and flow of various toxicity symptoms. As my body has been fighting this infection, I've felt the changes. I've noticed the symptoms decrease as we're making progress. I've had a couple setbacks when I've gotten a little cold, some seasonal colds. I've had a little setback, but right now I'm actually very much on the mend. But I know that, I have to have more of a load in my bucket than is what is typical for me right now because I've been working through this for the past 9 months. So Sunday morning, I didn't have to guess anymore. I didn't have to wonder anymore. It was very obvious by how I woke up. So the hibachi dinner didn't really cause the problem. It pushed a bucket that was already close to the top over the edge because of this ongoing increase in metabolic waste material as my immune system is also doing what it's designed to do to get rid of this bacteria. So same meal, different body than I had a year ago, completely different result. And I want you to hear this part because it's for you too, not just for people that have had a tick bite. Most people living with chronic migraines are walking around with a fuller bucket than they realize. It might not be, from a tick-borne infection, but it might be from a digestive tract that's been struggling for years, environmental exposures, nutrient deficiencies. The point isn't what's filling your bucket. The point is that when someone says, I don't understand why I react to things that don't bother other people, often the answer is simply, your bucket is fuller. Same input, different threshold, different result. Yesterday morning, my nose would not stop. I mean, it was like a faucet. It was dripping constantly. I was getting concerned because we had to leave the house to meet my parents and so I was like, I gotta take Kleenex in my purse here. Like, how am I going to go in this restaurant and everything else? So I stuffed all of this Kleenex in my nice little purse that I was bringing to match my outfit. So we get ready to go. I've got my stockpile of Kleenex stuffed into my purse. But then as we were getting out the door, as we were driving to the restaurant, it started to lift. My nose stopped running constantly. I could feel the congestion start to clear. My eyes started to feel a little bit better. Everything started to ease up. Not, all at once, not like a switch was flipped, but noticeably things started to improve. And I stopped and thought for a second, this is exactly what a migraine does. It's so fascinating. It flares, it peaks, and then when your body has done the work, when the liver has caught up, when the bucket has drained down far enough, it remits, the migraine lifts. and you feel like yourself again. And then you think, where did it go? My migraine went away. It didn't just evaporate. It didn't just go somewhere. Your body finished the job. A migraine is a toxicity symptom. My Sunday morning runny nose was a toxicity symptom, and my body handled both of them the exact same way. It recruited every elimination channel it had, it worked as hard as it could, and when the load came down enough, the symptom resolved. The reason I love this example so much is that a runny nose is something that you can more easily watch. You can observe it in real time in a way that you can't always observe a migraine. Because when you're in a migraine, you're just surviving it, right? You're not, studying it. But a runny nose, you can track it. It's a little, it's not so uncomfortable. It was unpleasant, but it's something that you can kind of observe a little bit more easily. So you can feel it flare. You can feel it peak. You can feel the moment it starts to turn around. And when you understand what you're looking at, that process stops being frightening and starts being information. And here's something I want you to really think about. If I had taken a Benadryl or an Allegra that morning, I would have thought the drug made my runny nose go away. I would have given the drug the credit. But the drug didn't do anything except interrupt the process. My body was always going to clear that load. That's what bodies do. The elimination was going to run its course whether I took an antihistamine or not. The difference is that suppressing it in the middle of the process forces your body to find another exit or to hold onto the load longer than it needs to. The runny nose wasn't the problem. The runny nose was the solution. And if you take a drug to stop it, you're not solving anything, you're getting in the way. It's a hard thing to sit with because we're conditioned to believe that if a drug made the symptom go away, it must have been working. But sometimes the symptom was already on its way out, and the drug arrived just in time to take the bow. So next time you feel a migraine lifting, this isn't random. Your liver caught up, your bucket drained, your body did what it is designed to do. The migraine didn't just go away, you cleared it. I want to go to dinner with my family. I want to be at that table, watch my daughter laughing with her cousins, watching the chef toss broccoli pieces into our mouths, and just be there, fully there, without running a risk assessment on every ingredient. That matters to me. Being able to eat with your kin is a human experience worth protecting. And I think a lot of migraine sufferers have quietly taken that experience off the table out of fear. And I understand why. I just don't think you have to. What I do think is that you deserve to understand what's happening in your body when you make those choices. Not so that you can be afraid of it, but so that you're not confused by it. So that by Sunday morning, instead of reaching for an antihistamine and wondering what's wrong with you, you can look in the mirror and think, I know what this is. My body is working. Before Saturday night, I knew I had a tick infection. I knew my bucket was probably fuller than it used to be. I presumed it. But Sunday morning, I didn't have to presume anymore. I knew. My body showed me exactly what it was carrying, and that's really good information. And now I have a decision to make. Do I keep doing what I'm doing, or do I make some changes? And I'm going to make some changes. Your symptoms are not random. Your body is not broken. It's communicating, and it's telling you exactly how full your bucket is. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Hi there. I want to jump in real quick and tell you about my client Beth. She was getting 15 to 20 migraines and headaches per month, and as you can imagine, this was impacting her work performance and her confidence. She also has 2 small children, and she was starting to feel like she was a horrible mom because she had nothing left for them at the end of the day. But she reached out and she booked a free consult call with me, and after I asked her about her migraines and her health history, I felt confident that I could help her. I help women uncover the root drivers of their migraines and follow a step-by-step plan to dramatically reduce the frequency by up to 90% without adding more medication or taking a bunch of supplements. So we built her personal migraine map, followed the plan, And now she will get 1 to 2 migraines per year, which she uses ibuprofen to treat if she needs to, versus up to 15 to 20 per month when we first started working together that weren't responding well to any medication. She just reached out to tell me that she got a promotion at work, she's on top of her career again, and has been able to come off all of her migraine medication. But most importantly, she's a confident mom again, and she's attending birthday parties at Jump Zone with her kids and saying yes instead of saying maybe later. I've worked with women like Beth from all over the United States who were told, this is the best we can do, but they were still willing to dig deeper. So if you're serious about changing your migraine story, go to drlesliecaesar.com/apply or tap the link in the show notes. And on our free consult, we'll map out why your migraines keep coming back and the first 3 steps you can take over the next 30 days. I do cap new client spots each month, so if the calendar is full, the doors are closed for now. But if you're done feeling helpless and ready to do the work to heal, pause this episode for 30 seconds and book that consult call now.